This is a free land in which we have a right to work anywhere, earn our living in the job we can do best. We call it freedom of opportunity, and it means there is a free market for our skills, our industry, our ingenuity. A company in America has the same kind of freedom. We call this freedom of enterprise. It simply means that you can make anything you can sell. If you can make it better and price it lower, your business grows. That was the basic idea on which Burlington Mills was founded. A better product sold at a lower price, bringing to the people of America a new beauty in clothes that most of us had never been able to afford before, bringing new color and sparkle into American homes, making possible a new assurance, a new confidence that comes with good appearance, adding to the happiness of a young bride by weaving loveliness into her gown, creating new beauty, even new standards of living. That's why, in a single generation, a company of small beginnings has grown into one of the largest producers of fabrics and hosiery in the world. This is American free enterprise in action, and there is no better way to understand it and appreciate it than by seeing it in action. To see some of the many people at work, some of the thousands of ingenious machines, some of the wide range of operations which produce the fabrics and products that are literally woven into the life of America. Here at Central Falls, North Carolina, we find that the first type of yarn the company started with, Filament Rayon, is still one of the most important parts of its business. However, the raw yarn of today is a very different material than it was 25 years ago. There was a time when this cake of raw yarn would have to be unwound to go through its tint and sizing bath. But today, it goes through in cake form, one simple operation that gives it a temporary color to show what kind of yarn it is, and a sizing for additional strength. There are some types of yarn that come to the plant in skein form. But whether skeins or cakes, these must first be wound onto spools before the yarn is ready for the twisting operation. Here, 2 or more threads are twisted together to make a single, stronger thread, or one with a special texture. In the preparatory department, the cones of yarn are placed on large creels, and these hundreds of individual threads wind side by side onto a large spool known as a section beam, each thread to become a small but important part of the finished fabric. From here they go to the slasher, where the threads from a number of beams, 10,000 or more individual threads, are brought together. Here they get another sizing to strengthen them for the weaving operation. At the delivery end of the slasher, all the threads are wound onto a single loom beam, every thread kept securely in its place until they're ready for the weavers. It takes the skills of many people to bring the yarn to the weave room, and when the woven fabric comes off the loom, it will need the skills of many more. Inspection, dyeing, finishing, framing to specified width, then a final inspection before they're ready for shipment. French crepes and satins, romaines, files, poplins, and many other kinds of fabrics. Finally, they're wrapped and on their way to be made into dresses for every price range, like this afternoon dress of all rayon tissue file crepe. Fabrics like these flatter every whim of fashion, as well as the women who wear them. Now, a delighted young bride shows off the many lovely garments in her trousseau. Fine appearance at a modest price, thanks to new man-made yarns and ingenious fabric design, aided by modern manufacturing methods and large-scale production. Garments like these were once luxuries. Today, millions of women know and enjoy them. They're woven into the life of America. Now, here's another type of rayon fabric that makes suitings and sportswear for both men and women, comparable in quality to the finest fabrics made. These are spun rayon and spun rayon blends. The spinning division makes the yarns for these fabrics. To one of the plants, Ranlow in Gastonia, North Carolina, comes rayon staple as short lengths of fiber. Looks very much like cotton. And it goes through much the same process as cotton in order to become yarn. Starting in the picker, where it comes out in the soft, fluffy rolls called laps, ready for the carding machines. Carding is a form of combing, and it is part of the many operations that straighten the short lengths of fiber so they're all running the same way. As the combed fibers leave the carder, they're gathered into a fluffy strand called roving, in which form they go to the drawing machines. Here, a number of strands are combined into a single, more uniform strand. Each time the fibers are pulled straighter, always getting closer to the kind of yarn that's wanted by the plants that will weave it into cloth. The weaving is done in plants like this one at Cascade in Mooresville, North Carolina. Here, skilled hands combine with machines to turn out fabrics that are revolutionizing the summer clothes habits of the nation. Millions of men and women for whom these good-looking summer clothes were once far too expensive are now wearing lightweight suits and sportswear, spun rayons, and blends with other fibers. Every member of the family nowadays can enjoy these good-looking, comfortable clothes. Dad's summer suit and sport shirt, Junior's blouse and slacks, Sis's dress is spun rayon, and so is that trim gabardine of Mom's. And while we're looking, let's look at a play suit, proving that spuns are at home in the sunshine or in the rain, as this little lady with a satin-striped raincoat will tell you with a smile. Now let's go to Cramerton, North Carolina, for cottons, all cotton and rayon and cotton blends. This is one of the early steps that converts the cotton fiber into yarn. Here we see the combing operation, essential to producing the finest cotton yarns. For most of the fabrics that are made here at Cramerton, the yarn is dyed before going on to further operations. A skilled beamer sets the many colored threads into a pattern. Then they're rolled onto a loom beam. Operations performed this way are for small quantities of special patterns, whereas the regular slasher is used for larger scale production. Colored rivers of thread rippling their way onto the loom beam. Then the beams go to the drawing-in operator, who sees to it that each individual thread will take its proper place in the weaving operation. Finally, the prepared beams are ready for the looms. As we watch these colorful ginghams take form, we realize that the production of popular fabrics calls for a knowledge of the old, tried and true materials, as well as the vision that develops new ones. Even cotton has learned new tricks, like the introduction of aluminum threads, giving American designers a new fabric around which many of them have created a whole season's fashions. Now here are other types of garments, made of a popular wearing apparel fabric that isn't woven. It's knit, and highly thought of for both dresses and underthings. Here in the Burr Mill Tricot Division at Burlington, North Carolina, modern knitting machines produce nylon and rayon tricot. It comes off the machines in rolls 160 inches wide, about 75 yards long. A lovely, soft material that is enjoyed by millions of women all over the world. Coming now to the Piedmont Heights plants in Burlington, North Carolina, we see some of the most colorful weaving operations in all the textile industry, producing Burr Mill decorative fabrics. Each thread in the design is controlled individually by holes punched in an endless belt of cards. Each card is part of a particular pattern. From looms like these come fabrics for dozens of household uses, to meet every taste and need and purse. And like all Burlington fabrics, carefully inspected to be sure that every yard is up to its high standard. These are the fabrics that millions of Americans choose for upholstery, for slipcovers, and rich draperies. Here there are colorful tablecloths, gleaming napkins that will grace any dinner table, sheer nylon curtains that will add charm to literally millions of windows. Products like these are bringing new beauty into our homes. Curtains, upholstery, lampshades, and draperies. Other ways in which Burlington fabrics are woven into the life of America. Now, how many different kinds of ribbon do you think there are? Well, there's more than most of us ever imagined. And there are even more uses to which ribbons are put in our everyday lives, adding pleasure and color in so many ways. Ribbons are narrow fabrics and go through the same manufacturing operations as other fabrics. Although the loom beams are smaller, ribbon looms are actually larger than regular looms. But they're really multiple looms, working on a number of different beams at the same time, so that a variety of patterns and colors may be made on the same machine. Here in the plant at Catasauqua, Pennsylvania, are ribbons for millions of pigtails, and ribbons for all the Christmas packages in Santa Claus's warehouse, by the yard and by the thousands of yards. Ribbons for the 5 and 10 cent counters, ribbons for the swanky stores on Grand Boulevard, and ribbons that you'll find in every nursery box in the land. For how would we know it's a little girl baby if we didn't have pink ribbons to show it off? Behind every single Burlington product is the laboratory that guards the Burr Mill quality standards. Here in the quality control department, yarns are tested to determine if they're as strong as they should be, if they'll take the dye in the finished goods. Abrasion tests tell the wearing qualities of every fabric. Tests for tensile strength say they won't tear under ordinary use. Phaedometer tests tell how they'll stand up under sunlight. Standards are fixed here. They're protected here. They're maintained here. That's why when these fabrics are sent on their way, they're in demand by hundreds of the world's leading manufacturers. Now we come to hosiery. And when Mr. and Mrs. America step up to the counter, a large proportion of the times, Burlington will be their choice. There are men's hose in patterns and colors to please everyone, made in many different plants where skilled operators and ingenious machines team up to turn out large quantities of a good product. But it is in the field of ladies' nylon stockings that Burlington makes an outstanding contribution. Stockings so fine in construction and texture, they have the classic distinction of a fine cameo. Burr Mill Cameo Hosiery. The Burr Mill Cameo story starts in the precision knitting machines where carefully selected yarns are knitted into a shape that will later conform perfectly to the contour of both leg and foot. Into these knitting operations go many of the features that are exclusive with Burr Mill Cameo Hosiery. The knitted shapes are rolled up with just the right amount of tension to prevent distortion. From here, they go to a battery of loopers who skillfully bring together the toe portion of the stocking. Then they're seamed together. And here is the operation that gives these stockings another outstanding feature, the pencil line seam. These uncanny machines draw together only the 2 single outside threads, so that the seam is 3 threads thin. Every single stocking is carefully inspected many times during manufacture. There's even a trained manicurist always on the job to keep smooth the hands and fingernails of all personnel who handle hosiery. Every day, hundreds of dozens of hose are washed in a special solution, then thoroughly and carefully dyed. Each moment in the operation is precisely controlled to be sure of even and permanent color in every thread. Samples are taken from every lot to be matched against the master color sample. Colors must conform under both daylight and artificial lighting conditions. After they're dyed, the stockings are placed on the forms of an ingenious boarding machine. Here they go through a process which ensures that every single one of them will be in perfect shape. Then another careful inspection before the job of making pairs of thousands of single stockings. Here, stockings of every foot size are measured for length and exactly mated with another of the same size and length. In this way, perfectly matched lengths are assured within fractions of an inch. We've seen some of the operations and care that go into making burr mill cameo hosiery. What we didn't see is the story behind the manufacturing operations that make them a quality product. In the quality control laboratory, every element that goes into making hosiery, from yarn to dyes, is thoroughly tested. The hose are tested for wearing and stretching qualities. The results of every operation in the factory are continually checked and rechecked, so that when the burr mill cameo stamp is placed on our hosiery, we know they're right. Right in material, in manufacture, and in style. For style is another superlative ingredient which Burlington assures in burr mill cameo hose, the all-important color rightness. This assurance derives from the Fashion Bureau of the Burr Mill organization. Here they must know months in advance what will be the fashion in fabric and color in the coming seasons. It is this advanced fashion knowledge, coupled with the work of highly skilled fabric technicians and manufacturing techniques, which make Burlington an outstanding leader in the field of fashion fabrics. Thus it is that burr mill cameo offers an authoritative fashion rightness and color timing that is unique in the hosiery field. Burlington hosiery fashion coordinators meet periodically with a coordinator of the company Fashion Bureau to correlate the new hosiery shades with the latest colors in fabrics and accessories. These coordinators, equipped with the latest color and fashion data, carry the burr mill cameo story to the retail personnel serving hosiery users. They describe the features of burr mill cameo stockings, the exceptional three-way stretch secured by adding more fabric to give more elasticity and a snug fit, the tailored heel, the pencil line seam, and the snag-resistant finish. Arrangements are also made with individual stores to give point-of-purchase assistance to sales personnel and retail customers. Well, that's the story of Burr Mill Cameo Hose, a product of Burlington Mills, a name that stands for quality in hosiery, in ribbons, in decorative fabrics for the home, and fabrics for every kind of wearing apparel. Burlington products are in the homes of every town in America, and in a score of different fields as well. In the world of sport, they're in uniforms in the major leagues and on 1,000 college gridirons. They're in the field of medicine with nurses' uniforms, doctors' gowns. There's a Burlington note of harmony in the robes of many a choir. In the field of transportation, burr mill upholstery is sturdy and colorful on the seats of trains, planes, automobiles, and buses. Burlington fabrics are in the umbrellas which shield us from sun and rain. They're in the alumina handbags that women find so attractive and practical. But most important of all, they're in the lives of the thousands of people who make them and the millions of people who use them. So, like any other product in a free land, this is a story of people. The people of Burlington Mills, weaving the pleasure that their fabrics have brought and continue to bring to all people everywhere. Fabrics and products that every day, in 10,000 different ways, are woven into the life of America.